So a couple weeks ago, Dave, sober plant guy, hi Dave, suggested a video about plants, Hoyas in particular, I was ambivalent about. And I thought, well, I don't have any Hoyas that I don't really love. And, well, oh, wait, yeah, well, maybe I do. So join me with a tasty beverage of your choice close to hand while we take a look at MEH Hoyas. And before we get underway, a couple of quick things. First up, to everybody who took the time to respond to last week's question about your longest lived plant, thank you very much. That was very cool. It was also neat to find out I'm not the only one with a long-lived Schlumbergera. Lots of people had plants that had lived a very long time, and thumbs up to all of you who have done that. But the Schlumbergera, the Christmas cactus, Thanksgiving cactus kept coming up over and over again. People had passed them down across generations, which I think is really, really cool. So yeah, that was fun. Thank you very much. The next thing up is my Hoya Maniparensis. And I've talked about this plant. It's one of my favorites, you know, how I feel about Maniparensis. And as I was setting up to record today, I looked down and I thought it was the largest mealybug I had ever seen in my life. And I thought, oh, what fresh hell is this? So I picked it up, looked in very carefully, and I don't know whether you can see it in there, but those are Hoya seeds. Now, I was a little disappointed that my girl here had gone off and, well, been inappropriate with herself, because some Hoyas do self-pollinate. And I thought, well, that will be very cool. I'll grow some Hoya Maniparensis from seed and we'll see what happens. And then I looked at the neighborhood where she'd been hanging out, and there were some other Hoyas that could be the father. So I looked around, and it could be a lacunosa. It could be a cumingiana. He's been sniffing around all summer. Denisi, Frida, they play together sometimes. Crassipediolata, on the fringes, but close enough. Cumingiana, who lives above Maniparensis, so, you know, gravity could have helped there. Numelarioides, who's over here, but close enough that if gravity, falling pollen, stuff like that. And maybe even mirabilis. I'm just not sure. I didn't think my little plant was that loose, but apparently so. So I'm going to collect these seeds, and there aren't many of them. There's maybe 5 or 6. There's under 10 for sure. And we'll try and get them to grow and see what happens. Just like I never thought Hoyas would bloom for me, I never thought they'd carry seeds. The only question is, if it didn't self-pollinate, who did it? Because this is inside. There's no, other than the occasional fungus gnat, there's no insects in here. So I've asked, but she's not talking. So yeah, I'll keep you posted. And the first one I'm kind of ambivalent about is this, Hoya cumingiana. And it usually lives up here on this shelf, so you may have seen it in the background. And when I saw this plant, I thought, oh, because it's sometimes called the bush Hoya, shrub Hoya, something like that. And I thought, well, that could be very pretty, that could be neat. So I ordered one. Now, a little background. Cumingiana is native to Borneo and Java in Indonesia and the Philippines. And it was first collected in 1841 by Hugh Cumming, C-U-M-I-N-G, and was published in 1844 in Prodromus Systematis Naturalis Regni this one always gets me, Vegetabilis, which is the Prodromus of the natural system of the plant kingdom. And it was published by Joseph Duquesne. Now, an interesting side note before we get any further, and I'll have to read from my notes. Hugh Cumming was born in England, spent several years in Chile, where he became a successful businessman. He used the money he made to buy a ship that was specifically built for collecting and transporting, oops, come on, play nice, collecting and transporting specimens. And his ship was the first one to bring live orchids back to England. So I had seen pictures of this with its beautiful arching stems, and it looked great hanging, a little full. And I thought, well, yeah, I'm going to get one of those. That's kind of cool. The leaves are kind of small and roundish, ovalish, ovoid. Let's see if I can get this. Yep, whoop, everybody's getting the picture there. So they're interesting. They're pretty enough. And I hadn't had it very long when it started growing. And normally that would be a really good thing, but it's this thing. And it's taking up, that's why it lives up there. It would probably want more light, but it's taking up too much horizontal space. And I started falling out of love with it. So it was like, yeah, it lives up there. I water it, I take care of it. I've treated it for mites. I just didn't let them take it. But it's just, come on. It gets into everything, and it's, yeah. So I'm okay with it, but I'm not thrilled with it. However, I just saw a note, and I think it was on Doug Chamberlain's site, where he said that rather than letting it do this thing, he trained his upright and then let it do its shrub thing. And I thought, that could solve my issue with, Lord, the leaves get caught on everything. Not the tasty beverage. No, you're not old enough. That might solve my meh problem with this plant. It could give it a little bit more structure. It would take up less horizontal space. And we all might be happier as a result. So that's where I'm going to proceed next and see if maybe we can't get this one off the meh list. This one came from Gabriella Plants, and this is Hoya cumingiana. The next one up is Hoya tsangii. Now, Hoya tsangii is native to the Philippines, to South Luzon Island, and it was first published in 1988 in Hoyan by Christine Burton. And the name tsangii has been applied to a lot of other plants that aren't this. This one I purchased as the real tsangii. When I bought one of my species affinity Burtoniae, one of the names on that tag was tsangii. So I wanted to try this plant, and when the leaves are great, see if I can get this to cooperate for me. When the leaves are great, that's not working. Let's see if this will do. They're beautiful. I'll put close-ups. That's just never been the case with this plant for me. We have struggled since day one. The leaves get spotty, the leaves turn yellow. I've tried more water, I've tried less water. It's got water. Occasionally it puts out a new shoot. But struggle bus from the very beginning. And I would really like this plant to be doing well. So Thought it was a peduncle and I was going to be surprised as all get out. So yeah, I guess I have to try. I can't tell whether it wants more light or less light, more water or less water, though it is in a self-watering pot, so it should be okay. It's just time for more research. See if I can get this one to get going. You know, I really wanted it here, and it's just not. It hasn't gone along with the program. And I know that Hoya going to do what Hoya going to do, but come on. Come on. I want Beauteous. I want you to live your best life in my care. Please. Anyway, this one I got from Plants Wake You Up, and this is Hoya tsangii. Next up is my Hoya lithophytica. Now, I wanted this plant from the first time I saw it, but things have not gone according to plan with this one either. Now, Hoya lithophytica is native to Thailand, to the Tak province, and there's going to be a map, so we'll find out where that was. Growing at about 850 meters. It was collected in May of 2009 and published in 2012 in the Nordic Journal of Botany by Manit Kidyu. And the leaves, well, let me show you my difficulty here. It has turned into this monster. Which, you know, okay, normally that's fine. The leaves are, boy, you focused just a few moments ago, are very, very pretty. There we go. Really neat, have this kind of interesting texture to them. Close-ups, I'll do close-ups. And the story I read was that this was found clambering over limestone rocks. And Doug Chamberlain made the notation that it didn't seem to want to grow out or up, it wanted to grow straight down. So, okay, we can do that. So I found it a spot on the wall where it's near one of the grow lights. It gets decent light. I try and keep ahead of the watering. And I wanted to see it bloom because the blooms were reminiscent of Bella. And I like that beautiful, simple form, but that hasn't happened yet. Now, it's in a love me phase right now because there's new growth in a lot of different places. And maybe we'll do something with this. My, not issue, but the leaves have that beautiful texture. They're a great color and shape. And where the petioles attach to the stem is really, really fragile. You can knock a bloom off, a petal off of the leaf. That's the noun I was looking for. You can knock a leaf off of this one just by looking at it weird from across the room. I still want it to do well. I just, yeah, I mean, I gotta figure this out because it's at the floor. So I think I'm going to take some cuttings. I mean, there's all kinds of new growth on this one, so it's kind of happy. I mean, the camera's not going to focus for me, of course, but Cameron and I are going to have a chat in the intermission here. It doesn't even want to focus on my hand. We're going to have a chat. Let's see if maybe that does it. Oh, there. So they're very pretty. They're very neat. I really wanted this plant. There you go. I mean, look at those leaves. It's really cool. But You know, it's one of those kind of plants. I've got extra limestone in here, so I mean, as far as I know, it's getting what it wants. Maybe it wants more light. I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. But this plant came from Plants Wake You Up, and this is Hoya lithophytica. My next MEH Hoya is, well, this isn't it. This is a cutting. This came from my Hoya Iris Marie. Now, Iris Marie is a hybrid of Hoya Kembra and Hoya Schnee, Schneei. So I'm going to have to go figure out how that's actually pronounced. And it was named after Iris Marie Little, who was the spouse of David Little, a very famous Hoya person. Apparently, Iris Marie is the one who kept all the records and wrote things down and kept things organized and working. So I bought this cute little plant. It was about that tall at Logi's during one of my adventures there, and I thought, okay, it's nice enough, it's cool. I'd seen pictures of it growing and blooming for other people. So brought it home, potted it up, settled it in, and well, the reason I'm not showing you that plant, I'll show you a picture over here, but it is probably 6 feet long and woven in through the grid on my grow shelves over here. Actually, it starts in this grow shelf and goes over to that grow shelf. The leaves are, let's turn this, the leaves are nice enough, glossy. The cuttings root like a dream, and they turn into this. But no blooms yet. And when I've propped it up to have it grow upright, it just grows and grows. So I got to figure out what Iris Marie wants, because I'm giving her a lot of attention and I'm just getting these long, I mean, this is probably, that's easily, well, I have a measuring tape here. So it's easily 28 inches, 71 centimeters long. And that's just these two cuttings. So yeah, if anybody has any Iris Marie tips, what you do to make it happier, let me know. Because right now she's on the meh list, and I would like it to not be on that list. I would like none of these to be on that list, but what can you do? So yeah, we have hopes for this one. We're not quite sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but this is Hoya Iris Marie. And the next one on the meh list is my Hoya globulosa. Now, Hoya globulosa is native to Assam in India, Bangladesh, South Central and Southeast China, and Hainan Island, the Himalayan regions in India, Laos, the Nicobar Islands, and Vietnam. It was first published in 1882 in Gardener's Chronicle by our friend and patron saint, Joseph Dalton Hooker. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with this plant. It is just beautiful. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing not to like. I think it was that we struggled for a while we've had our bouts. It grew really well from the very beginning. It grew and it sent off this long, long vine with nothing on it. And I gave it a little bit of a trellis and it appreciated that. But I had it in a net pot and bark and sphagnum. And after a certain point, it did not appreciate that. I couldn't keep enough moisture in that mix. So I finally decided to do the self-watering pot and pond thing. And it has appreciated that. And this stuff up here is new growth in the last 6 months. So maybe it'll get back on my love list. There's a new growth point there. I have seen pictures of these, and when they get going, they get going. Like internodal spacing of maybe a foot or more, which I don't need. I need them to be fairly compact and handsome and gorgeous. And this one's, he's starting to get on my good side. You know, I keep showing them, but those leaves are really cool. They're slightly pubescent on the top, and they're like velvet on the underside. They're very pubescent on the underside. And I have a globulosa kaobang, which is doing really well for me. And maybe I should put this one nearby that one. That one's in a, well, it's in that window during the winter, so it's kind of a southwest facing window. Maybe he would like a little bit more light, but he's got a good bright spot down here. That's where he lives, down there. This is helping me change my mind, so maybe he'll get on the love you list. But for a long time, we just sat and stared at each other and, you know, okay. So we're working on it. Maybe we're going to work on our relationship and see if we can't get better at our expectations and communications. So this one came from Plants Wake You Up, and this is Hoya globulosa. Several years ago, when I placed an order with Plants Wake You Up, they included a little 2-leaf, 1-node cutting of Hoya AH-014. And I've shown this on my channel before, but not recently. I settled it in, and it just grew. It grew like a beast. And I've had to up-pot it several times, and, well, I finally decided to see how far I could push it. Yeah. This is my Hoya AH-014. Now, it's pretty. It's nice. I can't get any closer than that because I'm banging into my lights. Yeah, you know, my experiment to see just how, let's put you over here, just how out of control this plant could get. Well, right now, I measured it just beforehand. It's from the top of the pot to the top of the topmost vine is 44 inches or 1 meter, 12 centimeters. The leaves are thick, firm, not rigid, but firm, glossy, really beautiful. This plant has given me no trouble. I don't have any cause to have it on the meh list. It's put out some, you know, that's a really decent sized leaf. It grows, it's a cross that came from AH Hoyas in Ratchaburi, Thailand. It has given me no grief. I don't know why it's on my meh list. Maybe because for all this, it still has not bloomed. It keeps putting out new growth. It's in a weird spot during the winter because of the heating system I have. It's 4 feet away from where the vent is from my forced air system. So it gets warm breezes, but it's also humid in here. So, you know, I would love to see it bloom. I really don't have any reason to have it on this list. There's some splash on some of the leaves, as you can see. They're a beautiful dark green color. And other than my having to build some architecture to support this thing, yeah, I don't know. I think if it bloomed for me, that would change everything. But I haven't figured out yet exactly what it wants. It lives on the front side of my desk here, and it's aimed toward my southeast facing window. That's south. So yeah, southeast facing window. So it gets nice early morning sun. It does suck up a lot of moisture, and I am trying to be diligent about keeping on top of it. And it seems happy enough. I guess I just want to see what the blooms would look like. You know, maybe that would get it back on my happy list. But yeah, if you ever decide to have an experiment to just see how out of control things can get with your Hoyas, remember this cautionary tale. This now involves architecture and severe watering. So yeah, but it's fun. Maybe I can learn to love it more. This is Hoya AH-014. Moving that little beast around was, yeah, and even just getting it out the door into the green room took some navigating and bending and twisting. So yeah. So the question for this week's comments is, what's your meh plant? You know, what's the one that you wanted and searched for, and you got it and grew it, and you kind of went, meh. You know, you're not going to do anything to hasten its death, but if it died, you wouldn't be terribly disappointed. And we've all got one of those. So at least one. So yeah, in the comments below, tell me what your meh plant is. And yeah, we'll see what those stories are like. And as always, I want to thank you for choosing to spend a little bit of your time with me this week's end. Please remember to click the thumbs up like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. They're really important to helping my channel grow. A lot of the products that you've seen me use are available through my Amazon storefront, and there's a link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel, there's also a link in that description to my Buy Me a Coffee page, or there's a 3 dots thanks button down here someplace that YouTube handles all that for me. As usual, I'm going to post links to a couple videos, and I think I've got the right side this week. Or maybe they're over here. Maybe they're over here. It's like looking in a mirror and trying to figure out what's going to be where in the future. But yeah, so thank you again, and enjoy the rest of your week's end.